Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. As well as my friends over at yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today is the Crochet Texture Message Pocket Shawl. So it's actually got a beautiful texture to this particular one. The pocket is actually really unique on this one. I haven't seen a pocket shawl like this one before. And what it is that the pocket is actually built into it and it's not slapped on afterwards. So what we're going to do is that we're going to talk about the repeat pattern, because the pocket pattern itself is actually really quite straightforward, and then it's going to pick up on it. So let me explain how it's going to work today. If you really like this pattern, you can actually substitute and make it bigger or smaller. The multiples are 13 plus 8 in order to do that. So the particular shawl that we're about to do is actually done in 2 panels. So right in the back of the neck area is actually been sewn together with the whip stitch. So this is one panel and this is the other panel coming down. Now when you go to do the pockets are actually a liner of just doing one single crochet in each of the stitches until 7 inches long, and then the very last row of that pocket has to be what the shawl is actually doing so that it will match. So when you're looking at this particular project, when we go to grow the shawl, the shawl will be growing out like this, and then eventually we're going to come across a row and we're going to stop, and you'll pick it up on the other side. But you're not stopping as in stopping the stitches. What you're doing is that you're putting the pocket in there. So that instead of going across this line, we're going across the pocket on the back and then still picking it up then, right? And so then this opening right here will stay intact, and the liner that we're about to do is actually just sitting right in behind it, and then it's sewn to the back of the shawl. So the pocket liner is actually behind it and not in front, and that actually makes it really neat. So this here is actually going to be awesome. The trick is that this liner, the very last row, we have to make it sure that it looks like what we're about to do with the continuous shawl pattern, so that we can keep it up. Because if you really look at the pattern here, you will notice that it's not separate, it's carrying up, and then we're doing a separation that as we see. So the pocket, you will notice it will have ribs, so we're gonna come afterward and we're gonna add some ribs to it in order to make it work. So this is actually a really neat idea, and it's actually a really easy pattern to be able to follow. There's only a repeat here of 1 and 2 once you get yourself started, and then you're going to go for a certain amount of inches. So right here it says do this until it's 31 inches. So this is the main shawl itself. So we're going to be placing it in our pocket, and then we're going to go up to 31 inches, and then you'll start, then you'll finish off, and then you'll do the second piece, and then you'll join it with the right side facing each other, and you'll join it at the back, right at the back of the neck, and etc. So then there's going to be just one added, and you can actually see it here. It's going to be a neck piece, and you can see the next piece is right here. It's like ribbing, and so then that's added, and then the fringe is then added to that. So let me show you the little sample that I did, and then we'll carry on from this point. So this is what the pocket looks like. I just have to do one more row that matches the look of what we're about to do. So this is the back of the liner, so this isn't behind, and so it's just single crochet back and forth to about 7 inches, and then the very final row we have to do something special, which I will talk to you when we get there. And then what's gonna happen is that as you're making the shawl itself, once you get to a certain dimension, then what's gonna happen is you're gonna come across the shawl, and then you're gonna go across this and then back and pick up the shawl again. So you'll leave the other shawl section in front untouched. Let me explain a little bit more of that. So here's what it looks like. I just folded it so you can see it all on camera. So you're gonna see that there's actually 5 of these pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's the only thing that we have to pay attention to get ourselves started, and then you're just gonna go back and forth to a certain amount of inches before you get to the pocket. So as I said with the pocket, what's gonna happen is roughly about the middle part we are going to count our stitches. So you'll put the pocket in behind, and so when you go to crochet across, instead of actually crocheting on the front piece here, you're going to just jump, and then you'll be crocheting on the back piece here, and then picking it up and then going on the front again, and this will leave an opening in the front of your shawl. So hopefully that makes sense. So I think let's just try it, and let's just go for a pocket first, and then we'll explain the more that we get there. So let's begin. We're going to create a slip knot. You'll be using a 5mm size H crochet hook using Caron Simply Soft Tweeds, which is like the Caron Simply Soft family, or what I'm using here is a 6mm size J and Caron 1 pound yarn. So I'm just changing it. So mine actually technically will be bigger. You will notice that this is very generous in in a nice pocket shawl. So to start off with, please chain 34. So 1 2 3 4 5 and go all the way to 34 and meet me back here in just a moment. Once you get all the way to 34, you're gonna go second chain from the hook, turn it over and get the back hump of the chain, and you're going to single crochet yourself all the way across your chain on the back hump. And please do this all the way across. This is row number. So I've just come all the way across. We're currently on the right side of the work because it says row 1 is the right side. So what I want to do is just slam in, slamming is my new word, and I'm just going to slam in a piece of yarn or a stitch marker on a stitch that will only appear on this side. So whenever I see this, I know that it's the right side of the work. So when I turn it over, it's no longer there, it's on the back, so we know that this is the wrong side. So let's go for row number 2 all the way to 7 inches, and we need to end on the wrong side. So when we end, we should be looking at this particular stitch marker down here. So row number 2 and all the way to 7 inches is just chain 1 and then 1 single crochet all the way across, and then we have to do one more thing before we're finished our pocket, and you need to do 2 pockets, of course. So transparency, I have 2 samples on the go. So here is the other one. So this is the right side. So let's just say that this is 7 inches. We are going to just turn our work and then do one more thing, and we need to do this in order to have it work. So let's begin the next section. So when your pocket gets to 7 inches tall, you'll end on the right side, and then you're going to start the next row, which will be the final row for the pocket. So the final row of the pocket should look like the setup row number 2. The difference is that where you're starting and stopping is slightly different from this diagram. So this pocket, even though it's the same width wise, it has to be shifted over in order to compensate, because in front of the pocket later on you'll see 3 of those, and if you do it the way that it is, everything will be out of alignment. So when we go to start off, we're going to chain 1 and put 3 single crochets in a row, chain 1, skip 1, and then 3 single crochets in a row, and then pick this up in order to have the maintenance all the way across. So let's begin row number 2 doing exactly that. So row number 2 in the setup, and this is the final for the pocket, assuming that it's 7 inches tall on the wrong side. Chain up 1 and put 3 single crochet in a row. Now you're going to chain 1, skip 1, and you're going to put 5 single crochets in a row. So 1 2 3 4 5. Now the next post that you have, the 2 of those in a row, will each be a front post double crochet around the single post. So that will keep it lining up properly like this, and you'll be using those in the future. So starting in the very next stitch that you have coming with you, then you are going to put the next 5 in a row. So 1 2 3 4 and 5, and then chain 1, skip 1, and then single crochet the next 5. So 1 2 3 4 and 5. Now you're going to come down into the next 2 and make those as a front post double crochet again. So do those. And now starting in the next stitch, the next 5. So 1 2 3 4 and 5, and then skip 1 and chain 1, skip 1, and then you'll do the last 3 in a row. So even if you're short, just make it work. And so the front post double crochets are in, so what you have is the next 5 in a row. So 1 2 3 4 and 5, and now the next 2 are front post double crochets, and 5, chain 1, skip 1, and then single crochet the last 3 in a row. So on the top of the pocket, what we're going to have is 3 chain 1 spaces. We have 1 there, we have 1 there, and we have 2 that the front post double crochets are in. So this will indicate this is the good side of the project, and you should also have a chain 1 on this side. So you have chain 1, chain 1, chain 1, and 2 here with front post double crochets, 2 sections of those. So to finish this off, all you're just going to do is then just trim your yarn and make sure you get your height that you needed, of course, before you do this. and to run it through the back side of the work. So this is considered the front side because those front post double crochets are indicating that, and just turn it. So going through the once, going through twice, and third time is a charm. Okay, so that's all you have to do. So you'll have to do 2 pockets like that, and then these will be then ready to go. Now back to the diagram we go. This here also looks like the shawl. The difference is that there's more than you see here. This is a reduced sample as it says. So if you chain 73, this will work out completely for you. So that's pretty awesome, right? So what we have to do is we have to get ourselves started with row number 1, and then you're then going to start and pick up, and you'll do your setup rows that you see is in 2 and 3, and then we're going to then do the repeat pattern of 1 and 2 all throughout the whole thing until you get to the set amount of inches. So if you would like to change the size of this, even make it into a blanket, the multiples for this particular section here is multiples of 13 plus 8, and so that's something that you may want to know. So because I know that, it's kind of an easy way to be able to do it. So I'm going to show you a reduced swatch sample, but then when I do the pocket I have the bigger sample available for you so that I can actually show you how that's done as well. So let's show you how to do this section right now. To do the main shawl, you're just going to use the same size hook and yarn, and you can either chain 73 and it will work out, but if you'd like to change the multiple and do something completely different, it's multiples of 13 plus 8, which is what I will do because the repeat pattern is actually the same thing going all the way across. So please just chain 73 now, or your multiples that you would like to do just in case you want to change things, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. So 1 2 3 4 5, and I'll be right back. So let's begin. Set up row number 1. Going to go 4th chain from the hook, so count it back. So 1 2 3, go to the 4th, get the back hump of the chain because it'll look nicer, and you're going to double crochet on the back hump of the chain all the way across your shawl. So please do this, and I'll be right back in just a moment. This is row number 1 of the setup row. So once you get all the way across, yours will be longer. Remember, I'm doing a swatch, and you're going to turn your work, and we're going to do setup row number 2, which is the same as what we just did with the pocket. The only difference is that it'll be wider as we're going across. So let's begin setup row number 2. So setup row number 2 has a repeat over and over and over, and so there's actually 5 repeats in order to make that happen. So we're going to begin and chain up 1 and single crochet in the first 2. This is exactly how the pocket was done. So in here you actually now have the double crochet, so you are going to do a front post double crochet there. So keep that in line. And now the next 5 in a row, and those count as the 2 that is sitting in front of, so the next 5 in a row will be singles. So 1 2 3 4 and 5, and then chain 1, skip 1, and then you're going to single crochet in the next 5. So 1 2 3 4 and 5. Okay, and now the next 2 are going to be front post double crochets. So the repeat pattern going all the way across is essentially the 5 after these front post double crochets. So there's 5, and then skip 1, chain 1, do the next 5, and then the next 2 are front post double crochets. So at this point you're going to do 5, chain 1, skip 1, and then another 5, and then 2 front post double crochets, and then 5, skip 1, chain 1, and etc. Do that all the way across. So at the very end of this I will meet you there in just a moment. So keep repeating the pattern over and over, and look at the diagram if you need help, and remember the 2 stitches that it's sitting in front of are already accounted for, so you just start in the next stitch after those. So 5, skip 1, chain 1, next 5, and then 2 front post double crochets. So eventually you'll get close to the end, and so then you'll have 2 front post double crochets left. That's part of your repeat, and then the last 2 are 1 single crochet in the final 2 stitches. So it's in the stitch as well as the turning chain. So don't forget that turning chain counts. And this is the end of row number 2. Let's turn our work and begin number 3, which is still the setup row. When you're looking at the back of this, which we are, it's always going to be a single crochet all the way across in every stitch, including the chain 1 spaces that we made. So those chain 1 spaces will open up, and we'll be using those in the future. So row number 3 in the setup row is chain up 1 and then 1 single crochet in each of the stitches, and chain 1 spaces as you're going all the way across. So this is setup row number 3, 1 single in each in every stitch and space. So I'm at the end of number 3. So we're now going to turn and we're going to start the main body of the shawl now, and this is going to start with us with repeating 1 and 2 over and over until we get a certain amount of dimensions and then carry on. Let's begin row number 1. In row number 1 we are going to keep our lines in the front, so we're looking at the good side of the work, so we're gonna always keep that on the good side, and we're going to put in some trebles and etc. So let's begin. Chain up 1 and the first 2 are going to be a single crochet. So just like before. So these 2 here, you're going to keep those as a front post double crochet to keep that ribbing on the good side. So now this time those count as those 2 that is sitting in front of. We're only going to single crochet 3. So 1, 2 and 3. Now the chain 1 space is right over here. It's a long way away, but we can reach it by doing a treble. So wrapping twice and staying on the front side into that skipped stitch, and just pick it out of that and just pick it up and pull through 2, 2, 2. So that counts as the next stitch it's sitting in front of. So what you want to do is you want to single crochet the next stitch, chain 1, skip the next one which is directly in the middle. So then single crochet the next one after that and then come back into that same stitch to finish that off. So it's a treble and come back here. And just pick it out and keep it on the front side. So that counts as the next stitch that it's gonna sit in front of. So this time there's only 3 single crochets left. So 1, 2, 3, and then you have to jump back down here. So this is what it looks like. Okay, so then you're gonna come and do the 2 front post double crochets in a row. And then how many are you going to single crochet after this? So the 2 that are going to count for those 2, so it's 1, 2, 3 after that. So 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to do that treble into that skip stitch, which counts as the next stitch in that row. So you'll single crochet the one after that, chain 1, which the chain 1 should be directly in the middle, which it is, and then go to the single crochet after that. So keep that stitch empty because you'll be using that for another one of these in the future. Do a front post treble again around the same one, and you're going to repeat this concept all the way across. There's only 5 of these that drop down like this. So skipping the next one out, single crochet the last 3. So 1, 2, 3, and when I said skip, that just counts for that stitch that is sitting in front of, so don't think that it's adding any extra stitches. So now you have your 3, and now you're gonna do your front post double crochets, and that's all you're gonna do then for row number 1, which we'll be repeating over and over and over for the duration. So now you have the front post doubles in the last 2 here, and then you got 2 stitches left, and those are each just a single crochet. And so now we've just established that drop down that's happening, which is in this particular project, and then your ribbing is there. So we're gonna turn your work and do row number 2. So you're gonna turn your work and do row number 2. All it is just 1 single crochet in each of the stitches and chain 1 spaces across. So again, we're looking at the back side. It's just 1 single crochet in each stitch and space, so it's nice and easy to remember. So all the fun stuff only happens when you're looking at the good side of the project when you go to crochet. So I'll see you at the end of this row, and I'll be right back, and make sure that you do get that chain 1 spaces and keep it open because you'll be using that again in the future. So I've come all the way to number 2. That's it. So, and I've already turned. So we're looking at the good side of the project. You can see the texture is there. So right here in the pattern we have to repeat the last 2 rows, which is 1 and 2, until the project measures 9 inches ending on the right side of the work. So we have to make sure that when we go to start the next portion of putting in this pocket, we have to make sure that we're looking at the back of the project when we go to do that. So that's where we're gonna pick up, and then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to mark the next the stitches, so, and then I'm going to align the pocket, and then we're going to do this particular section right here. So I now have my big sample back here. So let's pretend that we got to approximately 9 inches. I would be considering, if I were you in your second one, I would count the number of these before you did the second one, so make sure that you're getting it onto the same row. just in case you have an alignment issue. So count the number of these trebles that you can see when you're doing the second one so that you can keep it all working in balance. So here's my advice to you. Before you begin, I would mark the stitches that you need to go into. So when we go to chain up 1, we are going to single crochet in the first 19 only. So I marked the one right after it with the stitch marker. So instead of going into the stitch, I'm going to go into the pocket instead. I'm then going to skip these 33 stitches, which includes this stitch marker here. So I marked the 33rd, and the last 19 will be the stitches that we're going to go into on this. So when we go across, we're gonna start here, we're gonna jump over the into the pocket and then coming it down. So this area here will remain unchanged, which will create the hole that you will see in the top in the beginning of the shawl, or the front of the shawl, sorry. So let's begin this row. So now that the stitches are marked, the ones that are marked are going to be where the pocket exists, and they're both marked that way. So now we're going to take the pocket. This is facing down. We're on the wrong side of the work, so the good side is facing down. So the pocket, the front post double crochet should also be facing down, so you should be looking at there. So instead of going into this stitch that's marked, you're gonna go along the pocket, and then you're going to pick up the one after the stitch marker to continue along. So to start this row, you can either count, if you haven't marked it, just chain up 1 and do the first 19, or stop at the one just before the stitch marker, and I'll meet you back up there and just show you what to do. So I'm now here. The stitch marker is indicating I've stopped. I'm not gonna go into that stitch, but I am going to grab the pocket, making sure that it is facing down so that the front post double crochet is on the other side. And all I'm just going to do is, starting in the very first stitch of this pocket, I am going to go single crochet in each stitch and chain 1 space like I had been on here. So you're going to go the span of the pocket, and then we're going to pick it up on the other side. So just go across your pocket now, and I'll be back on the other side to attach back to the main shawl. So I've now gone across the pocket. I've left the front side empty, and I'm going into the one after the stitch marker. So the last 19 will be single crochets into the stitches or chain 1 spaces as you're going all the way to the end. So please do this all the way to the end of this row, and this will get our pocket inserted and ready for more action in the future. So I've now gone all the way across, and now the pocket is permanently attached into position. So as we're now continuing along, we already have our front post double crochets. They're lined up to the other ones that are here, so those that carry up. The chain 1 spaces are into the same spot here, and so everything will look seamless. So instead of coming across the front of this, we're going to continue then along the back, and this will stay open, and we'll be adding some ribbing to this. So now you're going to pick up and you're going to start row number 1 again, and those are the ones with the trebles that come down, and because they don't exist here in the back panel, you're going to be putting them in for the very first time. So you'll see one here, just one here, and one here, and we're gonna continue that along. So please start with row number 1 again and go across the span of it, but using the pocket side only as you continue. So here's what it looks like. I just did row number 1, but I went across the back, picked it up, so then these all look like they match each other, which is perfect, which is supposed to be the point. So we're going to come across back on the front of these pockets in the future with some ribbing, but the back end now is going to look like the front end, and what people won't realize is that you've actually started that on the pocket itself. And so you can sew the pocket into position at any time. You may want to wait, it's up to you, and you're going to continue this then all the way to 31 inches at the very top. So when you go to finish this off, you want to finish on the wrong side, so you want to finish with a single crochet row all the way across. So I'm gonna leave this in your capable hands, and just make 2 identical pieces like this, and then you'll put it together, and I'll show you how to whip stitch in just a moment. So eventually you'll come to have both panels being the same length. It'll be 31 inches approximately, and then you're going to join them. So this will be the back of the neck for the person that is wearing this. So if your stitch counts are right, the stitches will match each other, so it looks like it's all gonna be one per unit. So the pocket obviously will be a lot further away, so you're only gonna attach to the top. So a great way to attach to the top is coming into the back loop of this one and coming into the back loop of this one. And this is called an invisible join. So what you're doing is called whip stitching. So you're gonna go in the back of this one and then the back of this one. So the stitches should match each other if your stitch counts are right. And what this will do is it will create a beautiful edge for you. Okay, and if you do it with the same color yarn that you are crocheting it with, then it will be pretty much invisible. So make sure you pull it tight, and therefore you'll have a nice join on that. When you're ready with it, you'll go all the way across, and then to get rid of it at the end, I'm just gonna do a quick demo. It's just, I would just tie it in a knot at the end. This is normally what I do. So tie it into a knot and then take it to the back side of the work. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn it to the back and then just go back across the seam line and go back and forth 3 times like you were doing the other pocket finishing. So we still have a few things to do yet. We still have to do the neck edging, and we also have to do the ribbing on top of the pockets as well. So that would be how you would join it. You go all the way across, and therefore you'll have this. So in order to do the neck edging, you have to have this done completely, and then we'll move on from that particular process. So let's move on and let's do the ribbing of the pockets next, just because we can. So the pocket edging, this is the front of the area. This will be sunken in behind. I have not sewn it to the sample yet. I'll do a quick demo on that later. And what I'm going to do is that I want to start off in the front pocket only. Okay, and I want to go right into the single crochet that's here. So right into the front pocket section, and we're going to join and then chain 1 and single crochet across the front of this. So each stitch and chain 1 space is going to get filled in with something. So just single crochet across the top of the pocket only. So right where we are, there should be 33 stitches going across the single crochet in the pocket, and then you're gonna turn your project. You'll be doing this with both pockets if I haven't said that already. So we're going to chain 2. It will not count as a stitch. We're going to double crochet in each of the stitches going all the way across. There's a total of 33 of those. You're going to notice is that this here is lifting off the garment. We are going to sew that down later, but we're not ready to do that yet. So just double crochet yourself all the way across the row, and this is row number 2. So row number 2 is all the way across. You turn your work and go back to the right side. In row number 3 we're gonna start the ribbing effect. In row number 3 we're going to chain 2. So now we're gonna come into this very first one as a front post double crochet. Okay, and then we're gonna go into the next one as a back post double crochet, and the next one is front post double crochet, and you're gonna do this all the way down the line. So please do go all the way across, and you're creating the ribbing effect. So I came all the way to the end. The last one is a front post double crochet. Let's do the last row of the pocket, and we are going to maintain exactly what we see. So chain 2 does not count as a stitch, and in the same one you want to make this as a back post double crochet. And then the other one you can see it's in the front, so make that as a front post double crochet, and then the next one is a back, and etc. So just match exactly what you see, and this will conclude then row number 4. I'll see you at the end of this row, and then we'll talk about sewing it to the garment. When you get to the end of number 4, just cut a long enough strand that you can actually sew this part to the actual project itself. The other side you'll need a fresh piece of yarn in order to do it. So what you want to do is just finish this off, and your garment will be complete at this time when you're doing this. So you're just going to lay it down, and you are just going to sew this to the actual project itself. Now here's my tip for you. When you go to sew this on, don't go all the way through the project, because then you'll end up with some massive pieces that will look out of place and behind. So when you sink down into this, make sure you just sink down into some strands on the front side only. So if you turn this over, I should not see the needle coming through. Okay, that's buried in. So don't go through to the project like this. And so when you go down, you're just gonna sink in, and you're just gonna pick up these fibers and just whip stitch, and then come back in, and then down, and then in and down. And so then this will be then sewn to the actual front on the side. So you do both sides like this, and therefore your pocket will be a little bit elastic, and that's pretty awesome. So let's talk about sewing down the pockets next. So when you turn this over, you won't actually see this, because this panel here will have grown up, and so this will be then the back of the pocket. So what's gonna happen here is that we want to sew down the sides, so the 1, 2, and 3. So starting on the one side, just let it lay flat, and when you go to join it, like I just demonstrated then with the pocket area here. When you go in, just stay on the fibers that are here and just grab around the pocket here. So don't ever take your needle to the front side of the work. Okay, so then just grabbing some fibers. The closer that you go to each other, there's not going to be as many holes in the pocket itself. So just gathering it up and staying on this side. So when I go to flip this over, if you've gone too deep, if it changes the look of what you're seeing here. So all you're just going to do is come down, trace it, and then come back up and then finish it off at the end. So that would be how you would sew. You just want to whip stitch itself together. So continue that, and we're going to talk about the neck edging next. Let's talk neck edging. So only one side of the shawl will actually have the neck edging. So you'll have the two panels, they'll be joined up here. So you're technically going to start at the end of one side and work your way all the way to the other. So you're gonna start on the right side. It says for the exact pattern is that you want to squeeze in 189 of your stitches going all the way across. So 189 single crochets. But the trick is that you need an odd number count, and that's what's been suggested. So you're just gonna start at the very bottom of the one side of the shawl. And so you'll have this and then the pocket up here and then the remaining, and then you'll have the join which already be done, and you're gonna go all the way across. So you just have to go all the way across with an odd number, or 189, and when you go in, just equally space it out and make it look good. Because you have been working with single crochet, it's pretty much assumed that you can put a single crochet at the end of any of the rows as well. And when you get to the joining spot, just throw in one between the join and then carry on. So make sure that you just get 189 or an odd number, and then just go all the way down the side, and I'll see you back here in a second. So now that I've gone all the way down, I want to just turn my work and go back in the other direction. So row number 2. So we're gonna chain 2, will not count as a stitch, and we want to just double crochet ourselves all the way back across the neckline. So do number 2 all the way back across, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. When you get to the end of number 2, turn your work. Now we're going to begin the front post and back post work again. So that's how we're going to be finishing this. So we have to do, we're on row number 3 now, but we have to finish on number 8. So essentially we're just going to chain 2, won't count as a stitch, but in the same post you're going to make this as a front post double crochet, and then the next one is a back post, and you're going to do that all the way down. So front post, back post, front post, back post, go all the way down the row. This is number 3. So I just finished up number 3, turn your work. Number 4 is exactly what you see. So this is how you're going to finish this section. So you're gonna chain 2. You see that this is on the back post right now, so you're gonna keep that as a back post. And the next one you can see is in front, so you'll keep that in front. So all I need you to do then is just to continue to go back and forth so that you have a total of 8 rows complete from the very start of when you started this. And so all of these last remaining rows, which this is technically row number 4, so you have 5, 6, 7, and 8, so you have 4 more rows. You just have to do them just like you see it here to keep the ribbing going, and it will match the pocket, and it'll match pretty much everything. So you're just gonna go all the way across, and let's just recap in just a moment. So in today's video we started off by making our pockets first. We then started off making a panel and then going about 9 inches and then learning how to attach the pocket to this panel, and then just getting rid of this section here and leaving it in front and continuing to work using the back panel all the way up to 31 inches. You had to do that twice, so therefore they'll be joining at the top. And once they were both done, we learned how to put them together at the top, so this will all be sewn together all the way, and everything will match as far as like all the texture to each other. We then learned how to build on top of the pocket this ribbing, and this ribbing then will be sewn down to the front of the project that was there. And we learned also just to keep within the surface of the stitching for inserting the pocket completely, having it sewn in. Then we just did only one side of doing the necking. So the next thing that we have to do, if you would like to add fringe, let's talk about doing that next. To add fringe, all we just need to do is to cut 3 14-inch lengths to make up one fringe piece. I would do a whack of these at the same time and then just group them together in 3s. You were then going to fold it in half like this, and with the project, with the good side facing up, you're going to start on the edge and equally space as much fringe. You can go every stitch if you want to. Here on the neckline here, you just want to equally space it. So just starting it on the side. You must come from the back of the project to the front and then just put that loop on and pull through. You just need to pull enough through so that you can put your fingers in and separate it and insert the other bunch into your hand and pull through. This piece here, when you pull on it, will appear on the good side. So the way that they are showing here is that they're in the front. So if you went from the front and went down to the back, then it would look like that. So it would look incomplete. So you just want to equally space that out, and then what you would want to do is just dampen this off at the end, and you want to then trim across the whole thing at the same time. So that's all a complete length. So that's it for now. It's Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd with my friends over at yarnspirations.com. This is kind of a complex idea, but it's actually not that hard, and you just got to do it piece by piece. Have a good day. We hope to see you again real soon.